On your first point, you're saying that the Tories are, what's it, KKK in disguise. I don't know about that. I think they have some old school, well, you might say old school conservatives where, you know, it's still rule Britannia and imperial Great Britain. You still have that tendencies in the party, but I think you'll find that tendency across all the parties in some degree. But David Lammy, again, and I stress that, you see, this is where the citizens is important, because they're not the only alternatives. They're not the only alternatives. They have the fourth estate behind them. They have the media and the big media behind them. But in our society, anyone can stand for election. Anyone can form a group. Anyone can form an organization. You got the Green Party now. It's been working hard for a couple of years, but it's starting to now push up. I don't know about the Lib Dems. I think they're saturated, but you don't have to select them. You can select somebody else. The way our country is run, we have 659 constituencies. Everyone thinks of the parties as some like automatic selection. Every region has something called a constituency, and it's made up of about 60,000 people. Now, in that particular constituency, one man runs for Member of Parliament, one woman runs for Member of Parliament, and the people make their decision. All right? There's independence in the House of Commons, and it's not a new thing either. And the thing is, the Labour parties, they're machines. The leading parties are just political machines. They have the capability of getting out their votes. So in the last election, there's 60,000 people in Edmonton, about maybe half of that voted. Half of that voted. 17,000 or 20,000 went to Andy Love. The other about 11,000 went to the Tory, because this is a Labour seat. There hasn't been a Tory in here since, I think, before the war. And the other party's got maybe 5 or 1,000. It's getting your votes out. So if you think that there's somebody else who you can support, who will represent your interest, support that person and fight the machines. It's possible, and especially in this climate. But it's not. The Labour Party and the Conservatives are not the millennium. And if you don't find your interest in there, some people do. David Lammy obviously feels that he has his interests in there, and I think there's Adam Afrayi for the Conservatives. They feel that their interests are being met, and maybe because of their education, maybe because of their background, that's the case. But that's what we're talking about, the differences between the backgrounds in terms of the education. The education matters. Maybe if you had an education, maybe if you had a scholarship to America and read more, knew other things, maybe you'd be different. I'm not saying that you'd be David Lammy, but maybe you may have a perspective which is conducive to David Lammy.
People with the same experience to run for these
I think
me to a question. But I'm thinking, then how do we as a group of people, do we vote as individuals, or do we vote as a group?
If you're voting as a group, then you're a campaign worker. If you're a campaign worker, you try and get other people to vote for who you want to vote for. So if you have X as a candidate, and you support that person, and you think you should have more than just your vote, then you work, you put leaflets for them. That's what I'm saying, the Labour Party and the Conservatives are machines. They've already got this infrastructure. And therefore they will always have about 20 people who will go around the constituency or the country putting things through the letterbox.
But yeah, my point is, if for us to, say if we wanted to vote for you, we want to get the black vote, do we get together as a group, or individuals? Do we motivate ourselves?
First of all, you should, if you felt that I would represent your interests, because as I said, I think you have to look at the character of the person. There's good Labour candidates and Conservative candidates in the House of Commons, but you make a judgment of, okay, is this person viable? Will this person represent my interests? Will this person, is he saying the things that I think needs to be said? And then you make a decision. And if the decision is, you feel that, I don't think there is a black vote, I don't think there is a this vote. Again, I think it's a bit stereotypical. I mean, there's a lot of, my mom's a Conservative and I can't get her to shift. You know, I don't know, in the 80s she said that she voted for Labour, but, you know, after, I think, 92, she's always voted Conservative, even if she's lost. She cares about crime, she cares about immigration. You know, so there is no black vote. I think you get the people who share your interests, get them out to vote and support your candidate, whoever it is.
Okay. Okay, we're going to move on to the second part. Again, please, I hope you've had a chance to think about some questions, so please interject as we're going along. You're more than welcome. I just want to ask, there's a question that I was thinking about that I would like to ask David, which is, it's bringing things again back home into Ponders End, Edmonton. And the question is really relating to the fact that I think Edmonton Ponders End has been predominantly a immigrant area, and the rise and it's quite amazing of the Kurdish Turkish community in terms of they've been here a short time, but they seem to have created their shops and you know, a lot of businesses, especially along the high road and Ponders End. And I mean, it's an amazing achievement, really. And you know, I actually really do think it's an amazing achievement. But again, it's kind of a poor reflection upon the black community and its achievements in terms of having some real estate and property, which is slightly changing now. And I wonder also, when I look at that in relationship to the council, and especially the council on this side of the A10, the council members, the 61 members, is it, of the council, and again, the makeup there isn't really particularly a very heavy black representation in the council assembly. Can you pick up on those 2 points for me?
Okay. I think you're following a good theme in terms of immigrants in this in Ponders End. I think there's been the Irish community. I think was settled here in the early part and mid 20th century, and the African Caribbeans and the Turks and the Kurds that have been coming in. I think in terms of possible reasons why that's come about in terms of the strength of the Turkish and possible Kurdish communities, I think is the way they operate their internal economies.
Okay.
I think it's like almost like the Jewish community where they keep money flowing in the community, and therefore they concentrate the money that's coming out from the outer community into the inner community, okay. And therefore they're able to purchase land and property. Okay. And also distributed it among themselves in that way. So you have, I would say, stronger local leaders, and they're active. I think they're active. I think it's also to do, again, I would wonder why the African or the Caribbeans wouldn't be as active, since they're coming from areas where there's a lot of political strife as well as economic strife. But I think if you look at Turkey and Kurdistan and all them places, there's a lot of issues there which makes them inherent. Well, I think, as I said, I think everyone is inherently active, but I think they're more forceful in terms of their action, in terms of organizing themselves. So I think in that sense, there is no internal. I think you do have pockets of, like, you have the Ghanaian community and the possibly and the Nigerian community. They have, in some senses, internal economies. But possibly we don't have it as an Afro-Caribbean. I know there's associations that are out there that do kind of promote those particular objectives. The question would be their leadership. If it's not satisfactory, the question would be the leadership of those organizations or those associations to pool their economy into internalizing it, and then using it in bulk to purchase property and land.